We now switch and go to Tobias Bøggild-Damkvist here in Denmark. I'm not sure I mentioned this in the beginning, but we are with Team dedoc in Copenhagen in Denmark. This is where we are broadcasting Doc Day from, and I'm happy to have Tobias, a diabetes advocate from Denmark, here live at Doc Day now. I don't know how many kilometers away you are, but it can't be that many. Tobias, you're going to talk about a more technical issue about adverse event reporting, and you've done a study on that. Take it away.
Thank you, Bastian. Well, actually, I'm a bit away because today I'm in Oslo in Norway, so 557 kilometers away from you in a Norwegian studio. But thank you. And while it is a very technical subject, it's also a subject that touches upon everything we have discussed today. Because when your equipment fails, when things doesn't work, the standard operating procedure of the healthcare system is saying, yes, you must have done something wrong. And I always start thinking, well, I probably did something wrong since this is not working, since it's not happening. So that's a very important point. Also in technology, the guilt is upon us. It's our own fault. That's the default mode. But if you shift one slide, this is a bit of technical issue. But what we do in Type 1 is that we do user-driven research in order to promote access to technology, more sustainable healthcare, and not at least user-driven innovation. Jump one slide. Yes. When you live with Type 1 diabetes, you know it, everybody. Our lives literally depend on medical equipment and insulin working probably all year round, 24/7. 365. But what we have seen in Denmark is that there's actually almost an active discouragement of reporting issues and adverse events, and that affects patient safety and that affects quality of life. And what we see is that it's extremely difficult to actually report these things, and even if you do, you will get feedback like, well, the case is discontinued because incorrect use cannot be ruled out. It's your own fault. Or nobody else has said anything, so it's probably just nothing. Forget it. But when we dive into the numbers, when we use Freedom of Information Acts, and second, we found out that over the last 4 years, only 84 users had reported errors in Denmark. And I mean, there's 30,000 people with Type 1. There's another 30,000 people with insulin-treated Type 2, moody, Type 1.5, etc. And the numbers just doesn't add up. So if you shift slide. So in our research on user experience, we added a large set of questions on access to technology, quality issues, and reporting. We try to do these reports every year. And if you shift one slide, what we really wanted to do was to ask people if and how many times have you experienced quality issues with your current equipment, and did you report it? And if you shift one slide, the first thing that really surprised us is that we got quite a lot of feedback, almost 600 responses. But the persons who answered, they are some of the most resourceful respondents you can find. There was a very, very strong participation bias. And some of our critiques, they used the K words and said, yeah, these are the Karens of diabetes. I said, no, it's not. These are the most resourceful people, well-treated, they know what to do, and even they cannot get through. So that was the first really scary experience. But if you jump one more, the research confirmed some of our worst fears, namely that people with diabetes, they experience quality issues and adverse events with a disturbingly high frequency. And it's across all technology areas. It's the syringes that break, it's test strips that doesn't work, it's the sensors that fall out, causes skin irritants, allergies, it's the pens that won't inject, it's the infusion sets that gives you adverse reactions, it's insulin pump with physical errors, with software glitches. And what happens is 2 out of 3 of these very resourceful people, they start out by reporting them to the manufacturers. Hopefully you'll get replacements, sometimes you do, but they only do so a handful of times, and then they are kind of like pushed away. And then they are reported to the healthcare authorities, a few of them, and they do so only once or twice because it takes 9 months to get a response and you're just told it's your own fault. So what we're doing, if you shift one slide more further, to improve patient safety and quality of life, we are doing micro campaign. I mean, one error at a time. We are helping people get through these Byzantine systems and report the errors. And in addition, we lobby healthcare authorities and the industry associations with 4 user-based policy proposals. We want to have single-based reporting. I mean, I don't know if it's a side effect, if it's a quality issue, if it's an adverse event, or if it's a technical error. It's extremely difficult from a user perspective to find that out, but it's my responsibility as is now to report it. We want to change that. Then we want the manufacturers to give us access to information errors at a product level, making it easier for us to compare the products. And we want the authorities to speed up the feedback. It doesn't take 9 months to report or to handle a report. It has to be immediately. And then my phone, my computer, everything electronic can report errors automatically. Why can't my smart pen or my insulin pen or my insulin pump? I want to have an automated reporting that actually goes forward-looking and say, is there an issue that we need to fix, rather than having everything looking backwards. So that's some of what we're doing in Denmark on the trying to improve quality of life by focusing on the equipment we need to stay alive. And if you jump one slide, you'll just see that's an example. We have postcards on all the hospitals and all the outpatient clinics for diabetes lying around, as well as social media presence. And if you jump one more slide, you'll just see some of the research we've been doing and sharing. It's all somewhere between low budget and no budget. It's purely driven by volunteers like myself and Tina and Linda, but we try to have an impact on healthcare authorities and manufacturers. Thank you.
Important topic, and you are seeing some interesting comments on the social media channels already about people who are wondering why they never reported non-functioning equipment, etc. But I wanted to bring you in here for a different reason as well, just to show that you and Tina, you're both part of our dedoc Voices group, that part of our dedoc Voices actually do proper research and advocacy work as well, user-driven, patient-driven research, which I think is as important as the awareness work we've been talking about when it comes to complications, etc., as the many other topics, peer support specifically. So this whole patient community, patient voice community really has a whole number of issues where it's involved in. And I think it's important to have that reflected at Doctor as well, even though we had this strong focus this year, today, on complications, different forms of diabetes type 2 specifically.